Welcome to the All Inclusive Podcast, and I am your host, Shy. Today, we're going to start off with my temperature check, and then I'm going to introduce my guests. I'm going to introduce my topic. It's a very dear topic to me. It's more of like a celebratory topic. So, like I said, I'm Shy, and my temperature check is I'm hot. I'm always hot on recording days. I'm hot. I'm excited. I've had like some nervousness, but I I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm hot. So yeah. So um, by popular demand, Mother's Day is coming up, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, the grandmothers, the aunties, the stepmothers, the everybody who has a mother figure or is a mother figure. Happy Mother's Day to you. All the ones who mom is no longer alone, on this earth. Um, I'm praying and thinking about you guys. Without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, and she's gonna tell us her temperature check. Y'all getting a sneak peek. Y'all probably gonna get some embarrassing stories about me, but I wanted to celebrate my mother, the one who brought me into this world, who carried me for almost 10 months, as she says, almost 10 months, who made her hemorrhage after. Uh, my birth, who I'm sure has accounted for some of her gray hairs. But I'm David Ruffin, and the rest of them is the Temptations. So um, I always like to say that. So y'all welcome my mother to the podcast.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so I'm not gonna give a name. She's gonna be Ma today because that's what I call her, Ma. Um, So, welcome to the podcast, Ma. What's your temperature check?
My temperature check is warm because I'm a little nervous.
Okay. As much as you talk, you nervous?
I know, but this is a different setting because I don't want to embarrass you a lot.
Oh, so y'all know she already gonna embarrass me, right? Okay. All right. So, warm. Okay. So happy early Mother's Day to you. My mother is a spoiled brat, so she's been showing me things for I don't know how long of what she wants for Mother's Day. So I got to show out since I'm David Ruffin and, you know, do what I do. But I wanted to bring you on the show because, number one, this Mother's Day is different for you um, because we lost my grandmother, her mom, in January, um, which is definitely, whew, don't get me crying up in here. I'm a G. Um, So, it's definitely a different Mother's Day
It is.
for you.
Yes, it is.
Because at your age, I'm not gonna say you never tell a lady's age,
You
but my
can. I
mama,
look good for my
my
age.
mom looks great for her age at 54, and I'm 34.
Woohoo.
Yeah, so at 54, it's like you still need your mom. You
Mm-hmm.
still want your mom. You still,
Yep.
it's just in a different way.
Exactly.
And so I am a fourth generation because we lost grandma in 2011, who's your grandmother, my great grandmother, who's the matriarch of our family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's Ma, who I call my grandmother, Ma, and then you, and then me. So this, even though we're sitting here with two losses, um, I feel that spirit, with us all the time. And, specifically, here today, like, I just pay homage to them because I've had so many influential women in my life who have helped me become the woman who I am today.
Hmm.
But you're my queen. You're my first lady. So, she's the first lady of the podcast. I'm gonna tell you something. My mother, um, promotes the podcast like crack in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. Wherever we are, she's like, you seen Shakira podcast? You seen Shakira podcast? So I appreciate that. Definitely. And we're gonna start off with some questions. Um, how was it like, because you don't call me shy, how was it like raising a young me?
Out of all of my kids, um, all of my female children, you were my easiest.
Mm.
Um, you were quiet. Um,
Even when I wanted to walk out of the school that time.
you were quiet, but you were determined. Like you kind of emulated me as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't a hard child. You were just a mommy's girl, as I would say. Like you looked at me and you took your lead from me. So because that was who you are, you weren't a hard child at all. You never became hard. You just were determined. It
Okay.
was this is what I want and I'm gonna go for it and I'm gonna get it because this is what I want. And mommy, what do you think?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So you were never a hard child. It was the males that was hard, that oldest male and that baby girl.
Okay. Okay. Um, as far as like, I like how you said determined because it's funny. You were raising me and you seen me as determined, and as I got older, I was like, dang, I was bad. I mean, that's how I see it. Like, I had bad moments. I had struggles. Mental health. My physical health had some issues.
Mhm.
So, um, for me, I seen it like, man, my mom went through a lot, get me to get me through every obstacle that was thrown my way, you know. And so uh it's funny to hear, determined because in my eyes I seen it as it being a tough assignment, you know. And I know parenting doesn't come with a manual, so you just take the punches as they come.
Mhm.
But my perspective and your perspective is two different things because I'm in it and you're in it too, but you're like the person that have to be in it, like, and like your hands have to be in it consistently. So that's that's dope. That's dope. Determined. I like that. I like that. Um, so you you talked about me. How about, how you were raised and how that impacted you with raising and training your children? Like,
So I was raised by my grandmother.
mhm.
Um, and my grandmother was a Southern Belle.
Yes, absolutely.
I was the oldest female grandchild, and I was raised with the oldest male grandchild. So
Mhm.
my oldest cousin Alvin and I were raised
Mm.
in the same household for years. And when he went back to his mother, because his mother was always in his life, but when he went to stay with his mother, I was lost because that was my brother.
Mhm.
Um, and I was raised. I was spoiled.
Mhm.
I got whatever I wanted.
Mhm.
Um, I was bad.
You was bad.
I
Okay.
was bad.
Maybe grandma would have said you were determined.
No, I was bad.
You was bad.
I was
Okay.
bad. No, there
Okay.
was no determination. It was whatever I wanted
Mm.
or whatever I did. I was the youngest of all of my friends.
Mhm.
So because I was the youngest, I followed what they did.
Okay.
So I was bad.
You was bad.
Yeah, I was bad.
Oh
I was
wow.
bad.
Okay. Okay. Um, so now you are seeing me as a grown woman, and um, a lot of times in the black community, and it's going to get a little sensitive. A lot of times in the black community, you see the male child, you see the female child, and the male child is like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," as a grown man, and then you see the woman child who's usually like pushed out there to go do things, go get your degree, go get a career, go do this, go do that. As a How do you see the parallel with the parallel of me and my brothers as far as how we are now as grown adults? Because now we're all pretty much all grown. You only are raising 1 12-year old, which he's spoiled and he's getting the I'm the youngest treatment. Um, you know. And I truly believe that as uh parents age, they don't have time to deal with the same stuff because we got our butts whipped. We got disciplined. And now it's like, is this the same woman that would have knocked our head off with a Louisville slugger? Not. Not. um, but he's a good kid, and he's also on the spectrum too. So shout out to everybody who is on the autism spectrum. Um, but he's a good kid, all in all. So how do you see the parallel of my brothers and I, and kind of tie that into how society kind of like pushes the women children and like holds on to the child? And is it a fear? Like, is it a fear? Is that why that happens? I mean, or is it from your point of view? What is your point of view from it?
So, from my point of view, there is a fear.
Okay.
Society has changed so much from when I was growing up to where you and your brothers grew up to now me having to raise a 12-year-old and having grandchildren that grow up in this society of it's just crazy. You can step on somebody's shoe and they pull out a gun and shoot you. So when I grew up, there was, you stepped on my shoe, we're going to throw hands. Where when you grew up, it was, you stepped on my shoe, I'm going to hit you with a bat or something. Or I'm going to jump you. It's not like that anymore. It's you stepped on my shoe, such and such. That's how it is. I'm going to pull out a gun.
Right.
So there is a huge fear. But along with it being a huge fear, and this is just for me, not talking about any other parent, for me, by me having multiple children, parents say they love their kids the same. We love y'all the same, but there is a difference in the love because each child is different individually. So for me, you were different. My 24-year-old was a whole different female child to raise. My 36-year-old, Lord have mercy, that one would make you drink all day. My 30-year-old was my quietest out of all of my kids. And I feel like because he was the quietest, he was the one that I forgot about. He was the one, because he was so quiet, because he didn't ask for a lot, because he didn't do a lot, he got left. You know, like I forgot about him. Not physically forgot, but he was the one that I was like, dang, I don't got to worry about him. So he kind of did his own thing. Even with you, I feel like there was a point where you may have gotten left too, because you weren't trouble. You didn't get into trouble. You didn't do parties. You didn't hang out with people. You were
very much so alone.
Very much so alone, exactly. Yeah. So there was a whole, it's a whole different thing with each individual child. Like my
Yeah.
baby boy, he'll be in the house and play the game all day long. It's like, come on, let's go take a ride. Oh, mommy, where we going? I really don't want to go anywhere.
Hmm.
I just want to stay in the house. I want to be in my pajamas. I'm fine.
Right, right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a difference with each individual child. Not that each child is loved differently. It's just that they have their own different characteristics.
And their needs and their
Are different.
requirements.
Are
Yeah,
different, exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can say as a child, it was pretty much, we had our struggles and we went through things and stuff like that. But as a child, our relationship was like this. But what I can say is like as growing into a young woman and like an adult, like we've had times we've like battled. And plus, raising your parent is hard too because sometimes you got to raise, the saying is once once an adult, two times a child. So the roles kind of flip, right? And you even
Okay.
seen that like as my transition, like
Mm-hmm.
she was very childlike.
Mm-hmm.
As grandma transitioned, it was like a childlike
Mm-hmm.
scenario. So um I can say this and say it very proudly. Like you brought me to a place in my life where um I'm so grateful for. The world sees all of my light because you carried me and you nurtured me. And then through childhood, through every test, trial, disagreement, you got me through that. And then my adulthood, it was like certain things in my purpose had to happen. And although you had never experienced those things, you kind of had to as a mother and then bigger as a woman, you kind of had to like let me go because it was other women responsibility or assignment to impart into me what I needed. Even now, like you've never done a podcast, you've never owned a business, so it's like I'm around a lot of people who are like business owners and stuff like that. One that I had on the podcast in the month of March, um, Joy Dukes, she's been influential in my life as
Very
far
much
as
so.
my current boss, she's been influential. I get a text from her before every show. No matter who, I get a text from her and it's have a great show. And I appreciate that. I mean, even like connecting with like vendors and like artists for like the new thing that's about to happen in June that you guys are gonna see. Um she's been influential in that. So I personally appreciate all that you've done and all that you continue to do because you still need your mom, your dad, your parent, no matter how old you are, it's just in a different way. You know, my way might be I might be venting to you or I might be like, "Ma, I need you to go to the store for me," or it's a different need. It's not a Ma, I need you to cook for me. Ma, I need you to buy me shoes. Ma, I need you to buy me clothes. Ma, I need you to do, you know what I'm saying? Like those things, I need you to give me some wisdom about this situation. I need you to allow me to go through a situation
Mm-hmm.
so that I can get the lesson out of it. Because if you block me from that, then I'm never going to get the lesson and I'm just going to keep going around in circles. So you always need your parent and we're talking about mothers, you always need your mom because you only get one. What they say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe, right? And so I'm gonna transition into something that is kind of sensitive, um, but we're just going to hit it and then we're going to keep it moving.
Okay.
I changed my last name.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago
Exactly.
to my father's last name.
Hmm.
And I could have changed my last name to your last name because, you know, it could have been changed to your last name. I
Right.
had a choice of which last name I was going to choose. At that moment when I came to you and said, "Hey, I'm going to change my last name, but I'm going to change it to that." What was your feeling?
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, the situation with your dad and I
Mhm.
was not your situation.
Mhm.
It was our situation. It was our immaturity. Um, you knew what the potential was.
Mhm.
Um, I never kept the potential from you. I
Mhm.
always had that conversation with you when you were older and you wanted to know about your dad. You knew what the potential was.
Mhm.
So when you came at me, because you were always in his life, like when you were younger, a baby, he would always get you. So you knew his family.
Mhm.
So when you came to me and said, "Hey, I want to change my last name," okay. My biggest concern was not me; it was him. It was him and how he would feel about you having his last name. So as you walked through that process, and you told me what the process was and what you were doing, I was like, okay, all right. I was happy when you said, "Hey, my paperwork is done." Like this is my last name.
Mhm.
Okay, that's fine. Because I want you to really understand that um, the mistakes that I've made, and I'm not saying that you're a mistake.
Mhm.
It's just the mistakes that I made. I never want them to hinder you. I always want you to be able to get or to know about your inheritance, be it your family, name wise, the relationship. I think that you have a phenomenal relationship with your father's side of the family. Even though it's not with him, I appreciate the relationship that you have with them.
They are. They are. Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, it didn't bother me at all because your last name changing does not change my title. My title is still mother.
Mhm.
It's still mommy.
Mhm.
So it's never going to change because your last name changed.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Yeah. You need to take a drink on that, huh? Today is really celebratory, like I said in the beginning episode. And I want to make sure that you're celebrated properly because, like I said, the light that this world gets from me, my smile, um, the way that I'm a giver, the way that I care for people. I watch you care for people. I watch you give of yourself, sometimes too much. I watch you make sure that you um turned your life around so that children that were not yours felt like they had a safe space, that grandchildren were and still are being taken care of and loved, that girlfriends know that they could come to you and be like, hey, you know. And so when people, and we're going to end with this, when people see me and they see my greatness, I always think to myself, they don't even understand that they are seeing my mother's greatness and that I'm just carrying on the torch that she imparted in me. And no matter how big I get, no matter where my footsteps tread, that you're treading it with me. Even if they don't see you physically, I'm you're right there treading it with me because I've seen you in the worst scenarios, like physically, mentally, emotionally, and you literally, along with God, which is a big part of my faith, I've seen you just be exactly who you are, unadulterated, unapologetic. And even when you are acting like a spoiled brat, because like I said, raising your parents so hard, um, understanding that you've done all you possibly can, and it's even more for you to do in this life. So I thank you for coming on, for having the tough conversations, for answering the tough questions. Um, but more importantly, I celebrate you because this is gonna air right before Mother's Day. And so, um, yeah, I celebrate you. I celebrate you. We even got on your favorite color, purple. So, I celebrate you because as I walk this journey of life and this journey of purpose, you walking right with me.
And I thank you. I thank you for that. What dedication? Um, I thank you for your podcast. Just in watching your podcast from when it first started to now, I see your growth. Um, and even though I get mad with you sometimes, like I ain't been on the podcast. All my friends be like, "Why you ain't been on the podcast?" I be like, "I don't know. I guess I ain't good enough." But I see your growth. Um, I appreciate you celebrating me. I appreciate you um, mentioning mommy and grandma. Um, Mommy's here with us.
Yeah,
She's here.
yeah.
And this is um, the emblem for what she passed with, which is
Patriotic
pancreatic
cancer.
cancer.
Yeah.
And I wear this every day in remembrance of my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I love you, mommy. You're always here.
Always.
Um, and your granddaughter is carrying the torch.
Yeah. So with that, cause I'm a G and we not crying up in here, we out.